Buy the truth and do not sell it. Also, wisdom and instruction and understanding. Proverbs 23:23. I choose not to be offended. Nothing that is said to me or about me will change my desire to love you. I will just shake it off. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, because God don't make garbage. There, I feel better. No, I don't. Yes, once more I have a story to tell, but don't I always? It does seem that some of our problems just don't go away, whether we choose to ignore them or dismiss them. So I guess if we look at the same problem more than once, it is because we need to, until we figure it out, until we get it right, or until we can move on. Hi, this is Lanadee. Welcome to the Dear Lanadee podcast. I hope our time together will put a smile on your face and hope in your heart. Do you have a problem or a situation that you'd like to talk about? Then this is the podcast for you. Welcome to Podcast 89. I am just coming out of a long, busy, labor-intensive Labor Day weekend, and I've decided to sit outside to podcast. Who knows how many more chances I'll get? It's just so nice to be outside, but very, very noisy, so I hope I don't have to do hours and hours of noise removal. It seems if it's windy, I spend more of my time removing the wind sounds than anything else. You'll have to let me know if this was just too noisy to listen to. Well, regarding our weekend, the heat was terrible, but the food, family, and fun made it tolerable. We have neighbors to our west who came for the weekend. They bought the home and use it only as a vacation house. But when they come in town, they do everything people who live on lakes should do. They live on the water, boating, fishing, swimming. They cook out. They put those of us who live year-round here to shame. It makes me feel a bit embarrassed. I really should go outside more. Our houses are so close that it's hard not to see their every move, and I am sure they see ours. Kind of like the fishbowl effect. When they are in town, I try and keep my drapes closed, as my living room window gives me a ringside seat to every time they come in and out of their door, and they can see how very little Michael and I get out of our chairs. One night, while watching TV with the drapes drawn, I looked up as my neighbor Jenny came outside. She waved at me, and I waved at her. I guess it does very little good to close the sheer. I watch their home for them when they're gone. No one would dare try and break in. I would know. Or at least I hope I would. I send pictures and texts for when they have their lawn mowed, when the weather's bad, and when the snow is too deep for them to pull in their driveway, should they choose to visit. Michael said I act like a stalker, and I'm sure others may think that. But Jenny thanks me, so that's all that matters. How about you? Did you do anything fun over the last couple of days? Or was it too hot for you? The weatherman says it's going to get cold, so I guess we had better live each day as if it's the last warm day. Fall's on the way. I have been spending too much time on Facebook. If you have an account, you should add me to yours. My name is Lanadee. Surprise! No, I don't use my last name. That started when Julie first came to Facebook and started posting pictures of the grandbabies. She lived in Missouri then. I was so paranoid about being on Facebook, I was afraid to use my last name. So I did the next best thing. If you want to measure your mood and temperament, note how many times you can relate to someone's post or pictures that contain a saying or complaint, or how desperate you are to lose weight. Yes, they post things like that too. You're willing to try just about anything, aren't you? There was a really overweight lady on this one picture, and then of course the after photo, slim and trim and beautiful. It amazes me that these women turn more beautiful when they're losing weight. What happened to beauty is only skin deep, or you're as beautiful as you are on the inside. The article said, fat, depressed, and frustrated? She ended up surfing the internet one day, and some new nutrition and training inspiration, she stumbled across a scientific journal about a new health supplement containing edible microalgae. Oh, please. Well, of course, she lost 27 pounds of fat, that's how that goes, in only 30 days, without doing any exercise. I ran right out and bought some. Not. We all know that doesn't work. But I did look at some of the things I was interested in. One post said, God doesn't give you the people you want, He gives you the people you need to help you, to hurt you, to leave you, to love you, and to make you the person you were meant to be. Another one I looked at, no matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you believe you are, how you treat people ultimately tells all. There's a lot of truth in some of these things posted on Facebook. Being negative only makes a difficult journey more difficult. You may be given a cactus, but you don't have to sit on it. Forgiving simply means loving someone enough to pursue healing instead of punishment when they have wronged you. I was having a long conversation with a young man who has since unfriended me, but I'm hoping he'll catch some of my podcast, maybe sometime anyway. But we were talking about faith, what we believed, what we didn't believe, why we believed what we did. Well, one day I decided to stay off Facebook. I had to. You see, once in a while I have things to do, places to go, people to see, and when I came back, I was unfriended. So I surely do hope it wasn't because of something I said or didn't say. And even though our faith is at polar opposites, I would like to continue talking with you. And if you're listening, you know who you are, and I hope you'll add me back as a friend. On to some other things since we last talked. Wesley and his Larry Boy ears. I felt kind of sorry for Wesley. You see, he earned his Larry Boy ears, and he realized they weren't the originals. Michael said he looked at them and knew that they couldn't suction to anything, and he was right. It was really just a headband after all, with some very soft sewn-on ears. I could tell he was disappointed. It reminded me about the time when my daughter, Julie, got her first Cabbage Patch. She told me later how disappointed she was because she thought it would be real. Instead, it was just a doll. So I guess Wesley's Larry Boy ears are just ears. I think I'm going to have to get him the full costume to redeem myself. I don't know where I'm going to find one, but you know Grandma, she'll keep looking. One other Wesley story. Did I tell you about his shark bite? Yes, he has been bitten by a shark. He came home a week or so ago, only to tell us that the Band-Aid on his leg was as a result of a shark bite, and he was as sincere to that story as any story I've ever heard him tell. Every time we asked him about it, yes, a shark bit him. I asked him how or where, and he said that the shark bit him at the ocean. And I asked him, how did he get to the ocean? He was in preschool. He said the teacher took him. Well, he's sticking to that story, and we have no idea why he believes that. He came home again a couple of days ago to show me another injury to the inside of his arm, which truly looks like a child bite, and he insisted again it was a shark bite. So perhaps what's going on is there's a child who acts like a shark. I don't know, but if we ever get to the bottom of that story, I'll have to let you know. Weight loss. I was wrong about Michael's weight loss. That should make me feel better, right? I guess it would if he had lost less. Instead, he's lost over 30 pounds. My mistake. Yes, 30 pounds. And I hold my own at a fraction of that. But at least I hold my own. Seriously, I am very proud of him. The funny part, if you heard Michael tell the story, well, I may just have to let you hear him tell you his story. Would you like that? Well, hello, Michael.
Hello, Lana.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing real good. Feel fine.
You got a little frog in your throat. Whenever you work hard outside, you come in with one.
Yes, and it was raining a little bit, and the wind in my face, it kind of made me a little hoarse.
Well, I wanted to talk to you today. It's been a long time since you've been on my podcast, hasn't it?
Yes, about 4 months.
And the reason for the invite today is because I wanted to talk about dieting. I told my listeners that you'd lost over 20 pounds, but that's not true, is it?
No, that's not even close.
Okay, let's tell the truth. Let's have a full disclosure. How much have you lost?
32.2 pounds.
Notice the point 2. Men normally don't care about that, but Michael does. I'm real proud of you, Michael. Real proud.
Thank you.
Yeah, kind of proud. And I just wanted you to tell everybody how you... Well, let's start first of all and say, tell me why you did it.
Basically, just I went to the doctor, and for the first time in my life, he takes blood once a year because to test, make sure my cholesterol's right. But this time, my sugar was up. And, of course, weighing 240 was, I believe, the reason. So I decided to go on a diet to see if I could get my blood sugar down.
Remember the doctor looked at you and he said one word to you, or 2 words. What were they?
Pay me?
Well, no, he said wheat belly diet.
Oh, wheat belly diet, yes.
And he's never, ever talked to you about dieting before, has he?
Never. He never even comments on my weight. In fact, I was so proud that I lost 30 pounds by the time I saw him. He didn't even mention it. I had to bring it up. So he's not a diet doctor, per se.
No. Well, let's get back to the fact that you decided, because, he had mentioned it, and you and I have talked about dieting before, you decided to at least try. And so you put your health into my hands. So I started serving some of the things I ate to you instead of just giving you the things you normally liked. But that wasn't the beginning of what you did. Let's hear your side of what you did to lose 32 pounds.
What you were going to do to help me by cooking the right meals in smaller portions. And what I did was I set some small goals. Like my first goal was to go from 240 to 230, and then 230, then get my teens and things like that. My latest goal, now that I'm 207, is to be under 200 pounds. So reaching small goals give me a lot of incentive. And then, of course, I use your low-cal, low-diet meals to help. And I take small portions.
Yeah, we've been doing lower carb, but not just lower carb. We've been doing healthy diets, haven't we?
Yes, then another key that I don't eat from supper to bedtime. I used to snack a lot. Now I don't snack, and it seems to be one of the keys to losing weight.
So, what I don't understand, though, is we eat basically the same. I usually try to eat less than you. Normally women do try to eat less than men. But I don't understand, though, is why your weight is falling off you like, melted butter.
Well, it goes back to what I said last spring. When summer gets here, I'm going to be outside a lot and keeping active. And I do, like this week, I power washed the whole house, the driveway. I mowed the grass. I trimmed. I'm going fishing later. So all this outside activity helps me burn calories. And I even look at it like I'll commit, hey, I'm going to count that as an exercise. So it's a fun way to get in your exercise and get work done and have fun.
But something happened today. You came out looking rather sad because you didn't lose any weight in the last couple of days. You seem to think every day should be a weight loss day. You haven't been at this that long, have you?
No. In fact, this is the first diet I ever remember actually going on. And I'm 70, so you're right.
What I don't care for is that you can turn down a cookie. Now, come on, Michael. You've always had at least a cookie after supper. What's going on with you, Michael? I want confession.
Okay. You'll tell me that I have a great willpower, and that may be true. But I found the key to my diet is setting small goals each day that I can reach. Like getting into my teens, that was one goal.
Michael.
And so what happens is,
wait a minute. Stop.
If I have a small goal, I can reach it.
Okay.
And it gives me a big incentive.
Just thinking I want to lose weight is not the answer. there isn't a woman listening to this podcast who haven't said, I want to lose a small goal. You know, I'd be happy right now to get to 10 pounds, okay? I'm not trying to be hostile with you, but just saying reach small goals isn't the answer, okay, Michael? Let's be honest. Are you spitting the food out when I'm not looking?
I never spit food out. That wouldn't be what I would do. I might wrap something up in a napkin and put it in my pocket because I think, well, bread is off my diet. Why is she giving it to me?
Okay,
something like that.
I knew it.
About the small goals.
Let go of the microphone, Michael. Okay.
I think if I had set, for me anyway, if I had set a large goal, I'm gonna lose that 40 pounds and get under 200. I think I would have quit a long time ago. But my small goals, I check every day, and believe me, I can reach them. And boy, I've got incentive to get that next small goal. I'm thinking 40 pounds is like unattainable. But what I'm doing is chopping it up, and I'm doing what I said I was going to do that day. I can do it that day.
Okay.
I couldn't do it for 2 months, but I can do it for that day.
I used to put out peanuts at night. Now, you don't even want those peanuts, do you?
Well, I ate most of them, but the last ones you bought were cashews, and I think they're high in fat, so I can resist them, even though they're very tasty. They're one of my favorites. Okay. Just don't bring any pistachios around because I cannot resist those.
Okay, grocery list. 2 bags of pistachios. Okay, Michael, let's fess up here. Men lose weight faster than women. You may not know that. I've spent my entire life since I was 14 studying this. You have to understand men lose faster. So while you're using willpower, there's more to it. You just have to understand men lose faster. The hostility. You may ask why I have hostility. Did you or did you not ask me yesterday if I was on a diet?
Yes, I did, because I wanted to include you in my success. But you didn't take it the way I thought you would.
No, I didn't. Well, thank you, Michael. I just wanted the listeners to know that you're doing well on your diet. So, do you have anything lasting to say? Anything to say?
Yes, if you're a man or a woman and you're going on a diet, set small goals. And I think you'll attain your desired goal much easier than if you set a large goal and then 2 weeks later you're tired of it. You never get tired of what you only have to do one day.
He's now holding the mic. I just want you to know, listener, it's not easy living with Mr. 30-pound loss.
32.5.
32.2. Sorry. Okay. Just wanted you to hear what was going on, and thank you, Michael, for joining me. Goodbye.
Bye, and thank you.
Well, there you have it. Ladies, that is how to lose weight. Set small goals. Really. I'm sorry. But anyone knows that just wishing it to be true does not work. I've always set small goals. I've always wanted to lose just 1 more pound, or 5 more pounds, or get to the next number down. But it's just the way life is, isn't it? Michael can lose weight because his metabolism is faster, he has more muscles, he's more disciplined. Whatever the reason, I truly am happy for him. I just wish it wasn't so hard for me. But I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue to work at trying to lose weight. I'm trying to increase my exercise, but that's not always easy. So like I told you last week, I'm going to just stop fretting about it. I'm just going to keep working at it and allow Michael his baby steps. He's always fun to have on, and I hope he'll come and join us again soon. Do people really know the real us? Do our children? I think there comes a point in time when every parent asks that question, and the answer is a decidedly no. They know the mom, the grandmom, but that's okay. We were a distinct human being with a personality all our own before we ever became a parent. And it's no surprise when our children don't know us, not the real us. I remember my father. I definitely thought I had his number. I heard the things he said to me, to my mother, saw the way he treated me and the way he treated my mother and siblings. I knew exactly how he thought and felt. I knew what to expect. What I did not know or perhaps refused to see, was the other man, the man he presented in public. My father was well liked by his neighbors. I was shocked when I heard that. In the last neighborhood he lived in, he was the president of the community association. What? A madman? My father? I remember thinking he was a good actor. If his neighbors got to know the real him, they wouldn't have a thing to do with him. I realized afterward that how we view someone and the way we treat them can seriously taint how we perceive them. I never got to know the real Dad, the one whose thoughts and feelings were wanted and accepted, because I refused to let him out of the box I had placed him in. Generally, children only know their parents as the provider, the comforter, the voice of correction. This attitude can extend way into their adult lives. And perhaps, just perhaps, we do the same with our children. We see them as kids, not adults, so are surprised when they try and break out of the boxes we've put them in. And as it comes as no surprise, kids grow tired of being corrected, scrutinized, and reprimanded. Take Wesley. He may only be 4 years old, but the other day my daughter Julie took a good look at him and his mouth was all dirty from something he'd eaten. And as she began telling him about how dirty he was, he stopped her cold and said, "Mommy, don't look at my mouth, just look at my eyes." Well, if that isn't wisdom there. We do need to just look at the eyes from time to time. The Bible states in Matthew 6:22, "But the lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, if your eye shall be sound, so then your whole body will also be illuminated," or full of light. There is truth to the eyes revealing much about a person. We can tell if someone is interested in what we're saying or not, or if they're totally spaced out or angry with our opinion. Sometimes we're going somewhere the angels fear to tread. We're talking about something and it's completely misunderstood. But if we see their eyes, we can see whether they understand or not. So like my grandson says, watch the eyes, watch the eyes. How do we see ourselves? What others see or think or recognize as far as our accomplishments may be completely different. And we may even get our feelings hurt because of that. We all make declarations. I am so hurt I don't need to have a relationship any longer with that person. I am picking up my toys and going home. Because after all, look at how I am being perceived. But that doesn't rid you of the pain. The pain is with you all day and many times into the night. If that has happened to you more than once, you will learn to deal with it. But just be careful, because bitter will not make you better. Allowing hurt to consume you will be detrimental to your health. And above all else, don't believe the one or ones who hurt you. We must definitely define ourselves, our self-worth, and judge the things we do by what God thinks and feels. No one, not our friends, family, or even our own opinion, is going to be 100% accurate 100% of the time. So you have to let it go. There is the distinct possibility you misinterpreted what was said also, or what was meant. So don't just withdraw from the perpetrator of your pain, or the rest of the world for that matter. Recently, one of my Facebook friends listened to the podcast that I posted last. See, I also post them on Facebook. She said, "So very right on. Wow. Glad you shared this. I came to a greater realization recently of the same thing. Sometimes we are more or less on autopilot with our faith walk. It stops us in our tracks when it comes to articulating it well to others." Thank you, Linda. I so appreciate your listening and commenting.
You don't know me. Don't try to change me in any way. You don't own me. Don't tie me down, 'cause I'd never stay. And don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to say. Please, when I go Don't make a fool of me, please, I ask of you. You don't know me. Don't try to change me in any way. You don't own me. Don't tie me down, 'cause I'd never stay. I don't tell you what to say. Sometimes I don't tell you what to do. Not that you notice. So let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. I'm young, I love to be young. I'm free, I love to be free. To live my life the way I want to say and do what I please. You don't know me. Don't try to change me in any way. You don't own me. Don't tie me down, 'cause I'd never stay.
I wanted to share with you about two very special people. One I've known my whole life, and one I've just met. One is my cousin Shari. Shari has battled cancer, breast cancer, 3 times. I don't know about you, but once would be enough. The thing I noticed was that not only is Shari's faith making her strong, but she has a fantastic family and friend support system. They love her, they admire her, and they've rallied around her. She has so many people posting, so many people praying for her. And when she's going through a battle, she just requests prayer and people begin to pray. This is what family is about. And if you have a prayer list, I ask you to add my cousin Shari to that list. I also have a new Facebook friend. Her name is Guenevere. I don't know anyone else named that, and I think it's a beautiful name. Although I've never met her, I began reading about her life when I started posting and reading in a place called Low Carb and Losing It. And she is working with the low carb diet as well, but she does not live here in the United States. She lives in Kabul, Afghanistan. I hope I'm saying that right. It's in Afghanistan anyway. I'd like to read this to you, because if you ever feel like you're having a bad day, listen to this. I've had a few ask me what I do here. I'm a Department of Defense employee. I volunteered to come here. I do get shot at, incoming, suicide bombs, all within my seeing and hearing distance. A lot of sexual assaults happen over here against males and females by military, foreign workers, and other contractors. I do have to wear a bulletproof vest to work, even have to put it on to walk to eat lunch or use the bathroom. I have to walk to work in extreme heat, rain, snow, all in a 35 to 40-pound vest and helmet. Right now we're under high alert to the NATO strikes that took out some local Afghans. Most of us carry weapons. A lot of civilians die out here. I have seen planes crash right behind my office, and I stood by and watched it burn. I had 5 coworkers shot down here in my office building a few years ago. 3 of them died. I've had a coworker go down in a plane with 2 soldiers. They all died. I've seen a friend shot down, a soldier, and 8 soldiers hit with incoming, 4 of whom died. I've had friends die in the middle of the night from incoming while asleep in their beds within 2 to 3 blocks of me. We outnumber the military here now, so our casualties and injuries are rising. I work beside the active duty soldiers daily and support their efforts 100%. We work on the Afghan National Army base and are surrounded by armed Afghanis. I appreciate the prayers and care packages that I receive. People think everyone here is making 6 figures, which is not true. There are people here only making $55,000 a year, which is a sacrifice to live on. I have slept in tents in sub-zero weather and used porta-johns and showers in tents. There is no privacy or bathing or private bathing, using bathrooms and so forth. Keep praying as we have an alert in my building today with an unidentified Afghani. Our guardian angels are walking around armed, patrolling, trying to find him. On a positive note, I lead the music ministry, and I'm singing the national anthem at a few upcoming change of command ceremonies for a general and a colonel. She also posted, so a worker here in Afghan is from Kenya. He stood up and asked prayer for his family member who is hospitalized. His hospital bill is $25,000, and in their country, if you don't pay, you cannot be released from the hospital. One of the members of the praise team stood up and said, I'll pay his debt. Isn't that just the love of Jesus? He paid a debt we couldn't, so we could be released from the debts of our sin and hell. God is truly going to bless this man. He inspires me so much. The guy from Kenya arrived back today and said his grandmother said, why would a stranger do this? Again, isn't this just like the love of Christ? You see, these are very special people. We need to stop complaining. We need to start looking at life for what it really is. I read this article by Dave Willis, who wrote, 4 things God wants you to remember when life is hard. Remember that your character should always be stronger than your circumstances. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control how we choose to respond. Remember, 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18 says, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Remember that your struggles always lead to strength. Every difficulty in your life, whether big or small, is something God will use to produce more strength. Romans 8:28. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Remember that God's timing is always perfect. That one's hard, isn't it? Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And finally, remember, just as Guenevere remembers, and my cousin Shari remembers, God will never leave your side. You may feel like you're going through the struggle all alone, but from the moment you ask Jesus to bring you in God's family, he will live right there by you. Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong, courageous, do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Another post from Facebook. Once a man was asked, what did you gain by regularly praying to God? The man replied, nothing. But let me tell you what I lost. Anger, ego, greed, depression, insecurity, and fear of death. Sometimes the answer to our prayers is not gaining, but losing, which ultimately is the gain. Another one. God is the arm that will hold you at your weakest, the eye that will see you at your darkest, and the heart that will love you at your worst. Remember, people, we battle not against flesh and blood. Our battles are also battles in the spiritual realm. We need to realize that we need to become better, not bitter, because of our trials. And hurting people will hurt people. So be prepared. Never stop loving, never stop praying, and you will grow, and the Lord will be blessed. One more story from John Maxwell that I read. He stated, we grow to meet the challenges we pray for. A group of climbers tried twice to get to the top of the world's tallest mountain, but 2 of their party were killed in their endeavor. They met in London later to give a report before a crowd of supporters. One of the men stood up and turned to a picture of Everest. You have conquered us twice, but Mount Everest, you will not conquer us every time. He turned to the audience and with determination said, because Mount Everest can grow no larger, we can. You and I have no clue how many lives we influence. You don't know the number of lives your prayers touch beyond the person you pray for. Let's remember to pray, not only for our needs, but the needs of others, for those who are ill, for those in Afghanistan, for those around the world who are suffering. Well, time to go. I hope that something I've said has encouraged you, or at least made you laugh. I hope we can do this again soon. I have truly loved talking to you. Please write me at dearlanadee@gmail.com. That's dearlanadee @gmail.com. Check out the archives on the website. I'm planning to add more of those. So until the next podcast, I remain your friend, Lanadee.
In the stars his handiwork I see. On the wind he speaks with majesty. Though he ruleth over land and sea, what is that to me? I will celebrate nativity, for it has a place in history. Sure, he came to set his people free. What is that to me? To my faith I met him face to face, and I felt the wonder of his grace. Then I knew that he was more than just a God who didn't care, that lived way up there, and now he walks beside me day by day. Every watching on me lest I stray, helping me to find that narrow way. He's everything to me. The stars his handiwork I see. On the wind he speaks with majesty. Though he ruleth over land and sea, what is that to me? I will celebrate nativity, for it has a place in history. Sure, he came to set his people free. What is that to me? To my faith I met you face to face, and I felt the wonder of your grace. Then I knew that you were more than just a God who didn't care, that lived way out there.